The internet is dying to know about that scene where you and your family are having breakfast and Kate walks over to your on-screen wife and says, I've met you at a baby shower. We spent the weekend together. And she has no idea what she's talking about, so we think.
No. She has a perfectly good idea. She doesn't want to be on holiday talking to strangers.
That's all there is.
Well, the thing about them is, the Ratliffs, there was a lovely line that was cut, which bothered me. We all had many, many lines cut because Mike writes so much fabulous stuff. There was half an hour cut from every episode. But when we landed at the beginning, they said, how's your journey? And I said, we had a long layover. And I said something like, I remember incorrectly, flew commercial, save the planet. Because they don't normally fly commercial. They fly private and they go to mansions with staff. So he's kind of slumming it, Tim, staying at the White Lotus at all. They're not used to other people being in their business. And so the fact that somebody from another table comes and gets in Victoria's face, she just doesn't want to be chatting to people by the pool. She doesn't want other people to be around. So that's all it was.
Just shutting the conversation down.
I don't want these people, these trashy people being in my life. I don't really want other people to talk to.
Oh my God, you should see the theories out there. People are like, why don't we know what's going on in that scene?
There are many theories about many things. We've given so many interviews, and I try not to repeat verbatim. So sometimes I say some dumb things or funny. I wish funny things. They don't look that funny when they're written down, and or I say it was, it was a big drama. There were dramas off screen. And then I watch these people with these crazy theories online, extrapolating from, which punctuation mark I've used or what someone's posted somewhere or what photographs. And I do read a lot of that stuff. And literally everybody has got everything wrong. Now, I'm glad we provide fun for them to say, but all these Sherlock Holmeses out there, they better make sure they've got a day job.
Right. You're like, sometimes it's not that deep.
Yeah. And by the way, it's not that every frame of that show and every word that Mike writes doesn't eventually pay off, but all the threads come together in this giant rope. You know how a rope is a million different cords. Having watched it again, having seen it originally, but having watched it again, I thought Mike was a fantastic writer. Clearly his shows penetrate the zeitgeist and make people want to think about them, talk about them. But being inside it, you lose sight of the brilliance of there not being a wasted syllable. Stuff that felt like, maybe it was a bit of a cul-de-sac. No, it all paid off. Everything in the end comes together thematically. And so people who are reading other storylines into it, just watch what he gives you. He gives you enough.
If there were an all-star season of The White Lotus.
It's not Survivor.
You never know. You never know.
God knows. But yeah, with Mike, it is Survivor in some ways.
Yes. I would put money on the fact that you would definitely be cast in that season. Did you watch the other seasons?
Well, of course I watched the other seasons.
Who would you want in the all-star season with you from other seasons?
Well, I'd love a visit from the grave. I'd like Aman to come back and Jennifer to come back, obviously. They'd have to have a seance, maybe, or travel to a parallel dimension. I don't know that Tim's going to be able to afford to stay at the White Lotus unless he wins the lottery or gets, some kind of golden ticket. I'm not sure he'll have the resources, although he's a rich guy, and although it looks like he's wiped out and all of his assets are frozen, it seems to me that a lot of rich guys get away with a lot of stuff in the world and don't pay the price, and they get pardoned by their friends. So we'll see. Maybe he could afford to stay there. I'm not sure he could. I don't know why anybody checks into the White Lotus, frankly. It doesn't have a statistic, it's got a quite poor statistical risk of leaving, except in the body bag. Who would I want to see? I'd like to be in it. I don't know. He reinvents. When this season started, I saw a lot of stuff online about this character is this. That people were saying, for instance, about Patrick, who was so brilliant as Saxon, that he's Jake Lacey's character from season 1. Actually, of course, Saxon was perfectly uniquely drawn, like Mike draws all these characters. And what was great in episode 5 or 6, when his world started to fall apart after the incident with his brother, you saw that it was all braggadocio. He's never scored with any women. He's all mouth. None of his chat-up lines work with any of the women. He's rejected. And then finally he comes to me as his dad in episode 7 and goes, look, I'm nothing. I'm nothing without you. And all that nonsense falls away, and you saw how desperate and what a shadow he was of a full human being on the inside. Because Patrick played it beautifully, and B, because Mike writes them all individually. I don't want to see any repeats. I want to see some other new characters that Mike's got in his head. But Mike, if you're listening, apart from me, obviously, I should come back.
There we go.
Maybe I'm working there. Maybe I'm doing the gardens.
Ooh.
Maybe I'm doing their accounts. That would be an interesting move.
I love that. Okay. You know what? We're going to put it out there right now and see what can happen.
Sure.
I'm here for that.